Well, I guess it's the Birds Blast. I don't know much about blasting that's been going on with this Eagle offense. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to a special Wednesday afternoon edition of the Birds Blast with Kyle Quinn, with 94 WIP's very own Kyle Quinn, and your boy Matty B here on the call on the It's a Rap Sports Network. Kyle, I mean, I guess let's get to it. Can you bring some sanity to what happened on Sunday?
No. I mean, that was an insane loss. Like, talk about like a nightmare scenario, losing to the Dallas Cowboys. Not just losing to the Cowboys, but losing in that fashion. I mean, 21 points the first 18 minutes, and then you do nothing but shoot yourself in the foot for the next 42. And you let the Cowboys back into the game, and, you know, the mistakes compile, and then all of a sudden you find yourself losing the game in the last seconds. I mean, it doesn't really get much more painful in terms of an Eagles loss than the one we just saw.
You know, Kyle, a lot of people around Delaware Valley, that game Sunday sent shockwaves through their collective collective fandoms. But I maintain here on this program, at least, it's the same things we've been talking about all season long that came back to haunt the Eagles. You add in the wrinkle of the defense not working itself out. Defense really kind of, I think, slides under the radar a little bit compared to what happened with the offense, but they're definitely accountable for a very poor game plan against the Cowboys. But the penalties, the offense disappearing in the second half, the rushing attack that has completely fallen off the face of the earth, those things are something we talk about every week on this program, every single week.
Yeah.
But yet a lot of fans this week, the vibe I got was, oh my God, where did this come from?
Yeah, I don't know how anybody's shocked at what happened. I mean, like you said, that's stuff we've been talking about, going back and forth about all season long. That's who this Eagles team is. It's an inconsistent offense where they look great for short stretches, and then they just look terrible, like the worst offense in the league for a lot of it. And I mean, yeah, defense didn't end up holding up. A lot of that I think is in large part due to the offense, but you allowed 24 points to one of the best offenses in the league at home. And that should have been something that you're able to overcome, especially when you put 21 up on the board in the first 18 minutes. 21 points against the Cowboys and that defense. Just, I mean, it's not going to cut it. So we can talk about the defense all we want, but that game was, like you said, penalties, running game can't do anything, passing game disappears. That's the 2025 Philadelphia Eagles for you.
And yet there's still a big portion of the fan base, and I'm curious to where you come out on this, because I haven't had an opportunity to talk to you since we did our last show, but a lot of the fans still believe this is a Super Bowl contender. Kyle, based on what we've seen now, 8-3 is not a bad record. 8-3 is a very good record. They still hold the division in their hands. They're still one of the top two teams in the conference. But are the Philadelphia Eagles a Super Bowl team right now?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it would be very fair for everybody to lower their expectations for the team. I don't know how you can watch this team and then watch a team like the Rams and think that they're on the same plane of existence in the NFL. I mean, they're just not. Like, I think if we lined up against the Rams this week, we would get slaughtered. Like, I really do. But I do also understand the crutch that people want to fall back on and say, you know, they're still the number 2 seed. They're one game away really from getting back into the driver's seat for the 1 seed. You can end up still getting home field advantage for the playoffs, stuff like that. They do have the tiebreaker against the Rams and stuff, but that's all, you know, lipstick on a pig, I think, right now at this point in the season. So if you were to drop your expectations for the team, I wouldn't disagree with that at all.
Lipstick on a pig. I haven't heard that in a while. But I agree with your analogy. For those of you tuning in wondering, what are you guys doing here on Wednesday? Well, it's because we got a game Friday, which of course we're going to talk about in a minute. But everything else that's happening here, happy early Thanksgiving, Kyle, by the way. You know.
Yeah, wish we had a football team we could be thankful for, but
yeah, should be interesting dinner conversation tomorrow around a lot of dinner tables. But here on the It's a Rap Sports Network, we're not going away. Here's your lineup for today. Tomorrow we are going to be at you with our Fighting's Final 2025 season in review show, as we'll take one final look at the Phillies of 2025 and actually set the table for 2026 as well. And then all the great program we have coming up through the holiday weekend. Leave the driving to us this weekend, guys, as you go out and enjoy yourselves on this very much deserved holiday weekend, but we're going to have you covered throughout the weekend. So, Kyle, yeah, 21 first half points, and seemingly in the beginning of this game, and not seemingly, but it was happening. They were humming. The offense was in a rhythm. Now, the Cowboys moved the football against them in the first half, but the Cowboys were making some really bad mental mistakes themselves. You had that fourth down and short go for it by midfield in the first opening drive that did not succeed for the Cowboys. But, but for the most part, you can't go away, at least into the second quarter, because it all disappeared about the 10-minute mark of that second quarter. But heading into the second quarter, you probably were feeling pretty good about where the Eagles offense was headed in this game.
Yeah. And I really think the turning point in the game was, things had slowed down a bit by that point, but when they decided to just sort of sit on the ball and not really get aggressive at the end of the half, you let the Cowboys go and score and make it a 21-7 game. That's what Dak Prescott said after the game, where he felt like they had life. And that's sort of it's been weird with this coaching staff all season long, especially with the offense. I mean, we know they've been conservative in general with just how they call the games, but man, really uncharacteristically conservative decisions by Nick Sirianni at the end of halves and all of that stuff. And that's not usually it's not usually what he does. So that was weird. And they let the Cowboys back into the game. And his explanation after the game was ridiculous. It was like, yeah, well, we didn't really have enough time, but the Cowboys did. It's like, okay, well, it tells me how much faith you have in the offense.
And, of course, the Dak Prescott interception down by the goal line in that first half really sort of masked maybe a lot more problems, because they were driving and Prescott throws that interception to kind of keep them at bay. But you mentioned 24 unanswered points after staking themselves to a 21-0 lead. It's hard for me to sit here and try to break some things down statistically, but I do want to throw out some numbers to you. Jalen Hurts, 289 passing, 27 for 39 and a touchdown. But, the big number there for me is 39 pass attempts. Kyle, I don't know if that's a recipe for success when you're making Jalen Hurts throw the ball 39 times a game.
I mean, clearly it's not. But it's just an offense that doesn't really do anything well at this point. And, you can point to the red zone efficiency, but that's probably more of a result of them not getting down there that much. I mean, it's easy to have a 1,000 batting average when you only go out the plate one time. So I think a lot of that has to do with that. And, it's just brutal, because I did feel like the defense gave them a lot of opportunities to really stamp the game as an offense, especially when the Cowboys went for it on 4th and goal. Defense made a stand. You mentioned some of the turnovers and stuff. And then we just, like we have all season long, just gave the ball right back to them.
Now, the stat of the day, the player of the game, Saquon Barkley, 10 yards on 20 attempts. Can you wrap my head around that, Kyle Quinn?
No. I mean, he looks like a guy that's had 500 touches last season. I mean, I was looking at his numbers compared to, and this is gonna sound terrible, but DeMarco Murray's 2015 season here as an Eagle, and DeMarco was better. I mean, that's how bad Saquon's been this year. Just to put it into perspective. So, actually,
I didn't deep dive that. Obviously, the performance of Saquon Barkley does conjure some DeMarco Murray, similarities. Yeah. I didn't deep dive the numbers, and that's a good thing I didn't, because that's truly shocking. That's truly shocking. So let's go into the Saquon Barkley thing. Once again, not a surprise so much to me, but we've talked about it. Is it truly? I mean, I've heard it all. The offensive line's tired. The offensive line's hurt. Saquon Barkley's tired. Saquon Barkley might be hurt. But you got Landon Dickerson saying post game, we weren't really prepared for what Dallas did defensively with the 8-man thing. So I don't know. Where are you? Where is this Saquon Barkley lack of production coming from?
So, like most things, it's somewhere in the middle. I think it's a combination of a lot of things. The offensive line hasn't been as good, particularly in the run game. Sure, they probably were not as prepared as they could have been for this week, and that one probably falls on Jeff Stoutland, the run game coordinator. Not the magical Jeff Stoutland University type season that he's had this season, but I mean, for Saquon, I just see a guy who doesn't want it as much as last season. I know that's harsh to say, but last year, when he had a guy in front of him, he would lower his shoulder and go right into him. I mean, this year you're seeing him run out of bounds, right? He's not cutting back inside. Like, it's just, the hunger doesn't seem to be there. Maybe that's because he doesn't trust himself. Maybe something's going on. Maybe he's dealing with something that we don't really know about. I don't know. That's me just trying to cope, I guess, make sense of the whole thing. But I mean, nothing's been working for them in the run game.
Now, the Landon Dickerson comments about them not really prepared for what the Dallas Cowboys were throwing at him. Fred Johnson then doubled down on that when asked about the problems with the run game. He said, "I don't know. I'm not a coach." Are those Freudian slips a little bit? One, where's the empowerment and the entitlement coming to allow Landon Dickerson to make a comment like that to the media in regards to not being prepared? And does that speak of a potentially worse problem, bigger problem with the culture of the actual Philadelphia Eagles? And same thing with Johnson. When Johnson says, you know what, I'm not a coach, don't ask me. Does that speak for maybe a lack of the coaching of this team?
Well, so I mean, I guess in terms of, you mean like the culture and stuff. I don't think so. I mean,
accountability, like they don't,
yeah,
because you can go back to AJ Brown too about his comments outside the locker room. No
Sure.
one seems to be worried about being accountable for any of this stuff.
Well, yeah, but look, I mean, like poor Fred Johnson doesn't need to be asked those questions about what's going on with the run game. The guy just got thrown in, and the remark he made was right. Like, what the hell are you asking me for? Like, I'm just one guy on the line, on the backup. And the Landon thing, Landon ended up sort of clarifying, walking back.
Oh, he walked it back is what he did. He didn't clarify it.
Well, I mean, clarify, walk it back, whatever you want to call it. But he knows that he stepped in it when he said that, and that was what he said. You know, was that wasn't exactly what he meant. I don't know. You know, I think I do think that was almost him sort of taking a little bit of accountability, at least in terms of the offensive line for the run game, taking the heat off of Saquon and putting it more on themselves. You know, that we didn't spend enough time doing this, and that I think that type of thing is an indictment on maybe the communication in the room there. Like, that's something that these offensive linemen are veterans. They've been here for a while. They have a good relationship with Stalton. They can speak up too. You know, these guys aren't robots that Jeff Stalton sits there and just programs every week. These guys can speak up too. So it almost felt like, in a weird way, that was him sort of trying to put it on himself, even though it didn't come off that way.
All right. You say tomato, I say tomato. I think there's a culture problem, honestly, in his football team. I think, honestly, and what I mean by culture is that as a player, you would have the fear of God in you if you took any of that dirty laundry outside of the locker room, regardless of whether or not it was taken in the right context or not. You just don't say those things to the media. AJ Brown, Landon Dickerson, the list goes on and on. Now let's talk about AJ. Because of all this drama, AJ seems to sort of like pass between the cracks here. Now, AJ had a very good game, 110 yards on 8 receptions and a touchdown, and has been quiet like a church mouse this week. Kyle, you know, is this why isn't AJ Brown voice being boisterous about losing? Why is he, you know, seemingly okay with the fact that he got his numbers but the team lost?
Well, yeah, I mean, you know the answer to that question. Like, AJ Brown told us a million times what his goal is out there. And I mean, the one time we did hear from AJ was after the game, and he seemed like he was in a pretty jovial and jokey mood.
Pretty cool, man. Yeah,
everything was great for AJ Brown. So I mean, you know, I know you're asking me that question for the audience here, but everybody listening, you and I, knows exactly what the deal is with them.
Yeah, we do. All right, let's go into the stat pack. Birds Blast stat pack. Eagles were 3 for 3 in the red zone. So when they were there in the first half, they were very productive. 3 for 3, 21 for 27 on the season with the red zone, 77.7% effective. You know, week to week when we talk about red zone, it becomes the numbers are there. 21 for 27 is a little on the lower side, I thought, but it's not necessarily the way they're cashing in when they get to the red zone. To me, obviously, it's them getting to the red zone has been really kind of what sort of the crux has been all year, because this team doesn't seem to sustain drives. So 21 for 27, I'll take it. First half points, the Eagles put 21 up. They have now scored 158 points in the first half, 14.3 points per half in the first half. No points in the second half, Kyle. 97 points for second half action. Kyle Quinn, the Philadelphia Eagles, the defending Super Bowl champions, Philadelphia Eagles are averaging 8.8 points in second half action in 2025. I know you've poo-pooed this all year, and all the time I bring it up. Is it something that you're starting to now take more heart towards? Kyle, 8.8 points per half? Come on.
Yeah, well, it's I think where we get tripped up here is that I don't care about which half it is. they're just an inconsistent offense. I mean, an inconsistent is being kind. It's not a good offense. So whether it's the first half, whether it's the second half, whether it's the first 18 minutes versus the last 42, they're just inconsistent. I mean, that's, it's not news to anybody. And if you pulled those numbers up, I think somebody would probably have the same reaction as me, is that, yeah, that's who this offense is. Like they look great for some flashes, and then they look terrible for the rest. So that's who this team's been all season long. That's probably what they're going to remain.
Would you say they're more consistent in the first half than they are in the second?
No, not necessarily.
Well, here's another stat for that. So in 2024, the Eagles scored 6 opening drive touchdowns. They got 8 opening drive. They scored 2 opening drive touchdowns in 2024. This year they got 6. They scored 8 first quarter touchdowns all in 2024. So far they got 10. I think it's easy to say that they're a more consistent team in the first half of games than they are in the second half this year.
Well, I mean, if you want to compare it to last season, sure. But last year was a really considerably bad first quarter team. I mean, we went through
terribly bad
10 games of the season where they weren't scoring at all in the first quarter. So, I mean, if you want to compare it to last year, sure. But that's a low bar to clear.
Yeah, still a bar. Eagles committed 14 penalties for 96 yards. This number is completely out of control. They now have 84 penalties on the year for 7.6 penalties a game. We can't commit a 0.6 penalty, so let's use the rule of 5. We'll go up to 8 a game for 621 yards of penalized yardage. 57 yards per game, Kyle. 8 penalties and 57 yards per game. That sure as hell ain't winning you a Super Bowl.
No, I mean, and like I think you said it, that was out of control performance, but the team and both sides of the ball, undisciplined, all that stuff. I mean, that stuff just can't happen, and that's sort of the reason why that it does matter how it looks. Like when they do the whole, it doesn't matter just win the game. Like when games are a margin like that, 3 points, whatever, you can run into a bad penalty day, or you can have your punt returner field the ball at the 1 and fumble it. I mean, you can have Saquon fumble it, which he rarely does, right? So like one of those things, the ball doesn't bounce your way, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, maybe wish we had some more points on the board, so it all kind of wrapped up into one ugly package there on Sunday.
They did force 2 turnovers. They've now forced 12 on the season, a little bit over 1 a game. But they also committed 2 turnovers, so they did not win the turn. I don't know how you look at that. I mean, they weren't out turnovered, but they did commit turnovers. Of course, there were 2 very costly turnovers. The Saquon Barkley fumble might be the more costly one. The Gibson fumble down there on the 7-yard line. The Eagle defense did get stout against that. They did not give up a touchdown, but you can't. First of all, Kyle, what are you doing trying to field a punt inside the 10-yard line?
Yeah,
do you learn that in Pop Warner not to do that?
You'd think, and Gibson himself is. I mean, when he came from the Jets, he had a fumbling issue too. So yeah. I don't know what the hell they were thinking bringing him in. So it looks like I would assume we're going to see Britton Covey whether Gibson's healthy this week or not.
Yeah, Jalen got touched in this game 1 time for 13 yards. Jalen Hurts now has been sacked 27 times on the season. Not necessarily a number that bothers me, but it is on the rise. It's up to about 2.5 a game. But the yardage is only about 12 a game. So you kind of take the good with the bad there. They got to Dak only 1 time. 1 time. Dak seemed like he had a lot of time to sit back in that pocket. And we're going to go over, matter of fact, let's go over that now. Dak Prescott's numbers on the day. 350 friggin' 4 yards, 23 of 36, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. It's okay that Dak Prescott's throwing the football 36 times a game. Jalen Phillips, your boy, your choice for game MVP. Did he suit up for the game, Kyle? Because they never called his name, and I don't even know if he played.
I don't know if anyone on the D-line did. That was a weird game for them. The Cowboys, they're not really known as necessarily for having this great pass blocking O-line like they have been in years past. That was a brutal one, and I think Vic was uncomfortable with sending extra guys just because of what it looked like on the back end at times with the Dory going out, and Cooper having to play cornerback too. Didn't have a great day, so didn't really give Vic the free reign, I think, to try and mess with Dak a little bit and send extra guys.
And the man that made Coop have a bad day, George Pickens, 146 yards on 9 receptions and a touchdown. Cooper DeJean got schooled a little bit out there on the edge on CB2. did we learn to maybe he needs to go back in the slot, or what do you take from the Cooper DeJean performance? Yeah, he's had an amazing start to his career, but he got taken to school by an NFL veteran on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, look, Pickens is a bad dude. He's probably better than every other wide receiver too in football right now. I mean, he's second in the league, I think, in receiving yards. So he's a tough one for DeJean to match up with. I'm not sitting here and saying like Cooper DeJean can never play cornerback too. I don't know. That was a tough matchup for him. Didn't think he was like getting beat all up and down the schoolyard in the game. I just think he let up some close contested catches that didn't really end up going his way. So don't want to see him out there at cornerback 2 this week. Not the Bears have this dangerous wide receiving group like the Cowboys did, but and we'll get to the injury report and stuff like that, but I don't think we're gonna have to worry about that this week.
Yeah. Now the other wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys, if he ain't being paid by the Eagles somehow, I don't know what's going on. CeeDee Lamb with 7 drop passes against the Eagles this year. Dropping passes all over the field for the Cowboys. Could have made it a lot worse for the Eagles, especially that one he dropped in the end zone on that turnover where they were driving to try to take that lead. Yep. I was never a CeeDee Lamb kind of guy, and boy, oh boy, does he not play well against the Eagles. I mean, I don't know how you wrap your head around 7 drop passes against one team over 2 games in one season. That's just absolutely terrible. If you're the WR1, absolutely terrible.
Yep, somebody might have to check his gambling site activity.
Yeah,
something up there.
Very good point. Quinn brings up a very good point. But the one sack that the Eagles did get, Dak, it was their 22nd sack of the season. Eagles 0 for 0 in 4th down efficiency. Kyle, I don't know the last time I wrote that down. The Eagles did not go for it at all on 4th down, and that's indicative to the penalties. That's indicative to the conservative style of offense. There wasn't many opportunities to be in 4th and short, which is a red flag all day long. 11 for 17 now on the season for 64.7% effective. The lack of offensive production is definitely on display with those numbers when it comes to 4th down efficiency for the Eagles.
Yeah, and we talked about the Hurts sack, which is probably at the worst possible time in the game. Yeah. I mean, I don't understand why they've been sheepish about doing the tush push this season. I know they got like moving parts in the offensive line and stuff, but like, man, 3rd and 2, run the tush push twice, get to that 4th down and take your chances there. I don't understand it.
Well, you should until they ban it. You're right. Cash in on what you can. I agree. But all that to the tune of a 24-21 Eagle loss to the Dallas Cowboys. And, from the bottom of my heart, I come on this. And there's no secret that I'm out on this football team. It's been no secret for a while that I've been out on the Eagles. But I would never, ever – I know I don't rejoice in any Eagle losses. And I certainly will never rejoice in any Eagle losses to the Dallas Cowboys, nor will I rejoice in a Dallas win against anybody else, especially the Eagles. So definitely a disheartening day for me as well, because I hate the Cowboys. But both of us had the Eagles winning. Both of us lost. You're now 6-5. I'm 4-7. You had Jalen Phillips as your game MVP. I had, good Lord. Well, I had AJ Brown. I would have hit if I think the Eagles would have won. I think I would have had a case for game MVP, but that didn't happen. George Pickens or Dak Prescott, I'm going to go with. What do you think?
Yeah, you can take your pick. I mean, Pickens seemed to have taken over that entire game. Probably give him the nod because Dak did turn it over.
Yeah.
So we can give it to George.
Congratulations, George Pickens. And me and Kyle are now 0-11. I'm guessing game MVPs as our perfect season continues. Woo. All right. Kyle, we got a short week because we're not going to have much time to lament over this. Thank God. We're going to turn it around here in 2 days, and we're going to play the Black Friday special at the link, Eagles, Bears. I said 2 weeks ago that this game, in my opinion, was the trap game. I thought this was not the Cowboy game. I thought this game's the trap game. And before we start breaking it down, I do want to get your thoughts on this. How important is it for the Eagles to come out on Friday and really put foot to ass to the Chicago Bears?
Yeah, well, so I don't know. I think anyone expecting foot to ass is just living in La La Land at this point. So I'll lower the bar there. But the game itself is hugely important. I mean, now it has 2 seed implications. You need to keep pace with the Rams if you want to possibly get the 1 seed. And I've dubbed this game officially the F-word bowl because the loser goes officially and firmly on fraud watch, whether it's the Bears at 8-4 or the Eagles at 8-4. The team coming out is declared by everybody, I think, in the football world as a fraudulent team. So don't lose
I
the F
like
word.
that. I like that. The Fraud Bowl. I like that, Kyle Quinn. I like that. All right, let's take a look at this game. The Eagles will be donning they're going to pay homage to Black Friday. They're going to go all black. Helmets, uniforms, the whole schmear will be in black. Bears are going in the traditional white and black uniforms that we usually see them wear on the road. The weather in Philadelphia on Friday is going to be a balmy 43 degrees and sunny. Beautiful Black Friday football day for this football game. Let's talk injury report now. Let's start with the Bears. Bears entered this game pretty banged up in linebacker, Kyle. Tremaine Edmonds, who was their leading tackler, having a Pro Bowl type season, was lost after the Week 11 game against the Vikings. TJ Edwards is also dealing with some injuries. Let's kind of go through this. Tyreek Stevenson's got a hip problem, the cornerback. He did not participate. TJ Edwards did not participate yesterday in practice as he's dealing with a hamstring problem. Noah Sewell, the other linebacker, did not participate because of an elbow issue. Ruben Hippolyte had a shoulder problem, DNP. Dominique Robertson, the defensive lineman, concussion protocol, DNP. Luke Newman, a foot issue, the offensive tackle, DNP. Jalen Johnson, groin was a full. So listen, the Bears entered this game, especially at linebacker, pretty thin, pretty dinged up. That's got to bode well for the Eagles, I guess, if you want to try to maybe exploit a part of the field that you never do, which is the middle. How do you like the Bears, or what are you taking from the Bears injury report as of yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough for them, especially because it's a short week for everybody. And usually, you know, if a guy's not practicing by Thursday for a Sunday game, then you start to really worry about their status. But now we're really only 2 days away from the game. So I'm not sure. I'm really kept up too much with some of those guys on the Bears in terms of their injury report. But I mean, look, the fewer starters out there, the better. And that goes for any football game.
Yeah, and for the Eagles, a little bit of a different situation. Let's talk about Reed Blankenship, who was banged up, back in, banged up, back in against the Cowboys. Vic Fangio said he was going to go. He was confident that he was going to go yesterday in his press conference. If Reed Blankenship does not play, you lost Drew Makuba for the potential of the season with an ankle problem. I guess I'm suiting up for safety if that's the case, Kyle. I really don't know if I believe that Reed Blankenship is good to go, or do I believe more that Reed Blankenship is serviceable enough to go instead of having to go with a Keely Ringo Sidney Jones type thing going on out there?
Yeah, and it looks like you said, Reed's going to play. Sidney Brown, I think Vic had said that he liked the way he looked in practice. He's probably going to go opposite of him. I don't know. Maybe you'll see Michael Carter sub in for safety a little bit. He's a versatile guy, but it is a little interesting storyline there is that the safeties on the other side of the field, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Kevin Byard, 2 former Eagles, at a time the safety group's looking a little bit thin. So that's going to be something that we should be watching out for.
Absolutely. And then the rest of the Eagle injury report for this football game, Lane Johnson, of course, continues to be out. Devontae Smith dealing with the shoulder chest problem. He did not participate in practice yesterday. Brandon Graham, groin problem, did not participate. Saquon Barkley was limited with a groin. Landon Dickerson still dealing with that knee, limited. Dory Jackson, game day concussion protocol. I missed this. When did he get a concussion? Did you see that?
So yeah, I didn't, but I saw today that he was elevated to full participant. He's out of the protocol, or maybe there was some issue where he shouldn't have been in the protocol to begin with. So Adorie's going to play. So that's good. That means we don't have to see Cooper DeJean at the corner there. But the Devontae one, that's obviously a little bit worrisome. Now, do find it interesting because he did not practice again today, that they added an illness to his injury designation.
Really?
So still the chest, and now an illness. So almost wonder if maybe he would have been there in a limited capacity had he not had an illness, and that was just sort of a reason to keep him out again. So we'll see. I'm curious to see if he practices or whatever the next time, if they do go out there tomorrow. I'm not sure for Thanksgiving, but maybe just a little bit of hope for Devontae, but they need him.
And obviously things are a little bit, accelerated because of the short week. Some of these guys probably would have been more than a game time go on Sunday, but now you're looking at, cutting it down to Friday. Very interesting. So when we look at the injury reports, obviously it's the middle of the field for both these teams on defense that seem to be the be the sus area. The Eagles maybe a little bit more in the secondary, but yeah, what are you looking at here, injury wise? I mean, who does it favor? Anybody? Does it favor the Bears? Caleb Williams is having a great season. Do the Bears get a little bit more aggressive? They've been very aggressive. Brian Johnson's been extremely aggressive with his passing attack. Do they keep up that pressure on the Eagles this Friday?
I mean, yeah, I would imagine that they're going to have to. That's kind of just who Ben Johnson is. He's Mr. I love explosive plays, stuff like that. You have to think that, I mean, the Eagles are still the more talented team when you look up and down the roster. So I would definitely say the injury report probably favors the Eagles more still.
All right. With the weather being a very pleasant 43 degrees and sunny, with them wearing their all-black uniforms, and with the injury report being the injury report it is, Kyle Quinn, what do you think is going to happen on the could potentially be hostile home field of the Philadelphia Eagles at the Link on Friday?
Yeah, probably still going to get a hearty dose of Philly fans booing, because I don't expect the offense all of a sudden flip the switch, even though we'll get to what the Bears defense looks like in a little bit. But like I said, I think it's the fraud bowl. Both teams might end up coming out of it looking like, everyone still has questions about both of them. Still think the Bears are more fraudulent. I know the spread's -7 or -7.5 for the Eagles, which seems crazy to me. Don't expect us to cover that. But I do expect it to be a little bit of a closer game, with one team looking like a little bit more fraudulent than the other.
I honestly have a very, again, kind of going back to what I said at the beginning of the show. I look at this game as the trap game, and I know a lot of fans, and I know I'm not trying to characterize all the fans and saying everyone was looking at this Cowboy game the same way, but I was concerned, and it was shocking a little bit that a lot of fans were taking what happened in Dallas as some sort of like glitch in the matrix, and it's not, and it really hasn't been. You really need to go back and watch the tape. So I'm concerned that Friday, on a short week, another conference game, as you mentioned, a great analogy, the fraud bowl, because one of these teams is probably going to be labeled a fraud coming out of this game. With all the stuff that's happening, with all the problems we've talked about, your show talks about, every other show out there talks about, I have not heard any fixes for any of this stuff. We just talk about the problems, and I don't know if there's any fixes left to have at this point of the season. Kyle, I have a very hard time wrapping my head around this game being anything more than what the season has been up to this point. I'm not saying win or loss, but you're not going to get an Eagle offense that's going to eventually just be like, okay, we're here. We've been here the whole time. We've been sandbagging.
Yeah.
And you're going to have a defense that's gassed. You have a defense that's clipped up. They're going to try to hold their own. They're going to keep you in the game. But I don't see anything pointing to me that's going to change anything that we've seen up to this point with this team.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you could. It's too late in the season, really, for that, for anybody. Like, it was cute when it was 4 weeks in or when it was a month in and stuff like that. But I mean, this is who both teams are. I just think if you look up and down the resume, the Eagles have much tougher schedule than the Bears, and I just don't think the Bears are that good. I mean, we can talk about what the Eagles are, but the Bears, to me, don't have what some of these other teams had that can exploit our weaknesses as much. So.
Well, let's see if we can exploit some weekends here, Kyle. Give me your Eagle-Bear key matchups.
So let's go Ben Johnson versus Vic Fangio. A great offensive mind versus a great defensive mind. See what Fangio wants to do, configuring that backfield, the secondary, and see what he wants to do going up against this Ben Johnson offense that's really good at scheming guys open. They get creative. He's gotten a lot out of Caleb Williams this year, who I think has been playing a lot better. So two great offensive and defensive mind going up against each other. That's going to be a good thing to watch there. We'll say the Eagles' non-existent running game versus the Bears' non-existent running defense. The Bears might have one of the worst run defenses in the league. So we'll see if the Eagles' issues at the running game continue, or if it's more like, a game that we had against the Giants where the run game actually looked like, maybe there's something there. Not that I'll be taking anything away from it if it is, because like I said, it is the Bears, but this would be a good week to get that going a little bit. And then I'll say just the Eagles versus themselves. I mean, enough with cool it with the penalties. Cool it with the freaking pre-snap and all the motion, illegal formation penalties. Like, my goodness. I even thought against the Cowboys, they had some pretty big offensive plays that could have helped put the game away that just ended up getting called back because of stupid mistakes that they made. So they're they're going to have to get out of their own way with the penalties.
I'm going to sit here and give you kudos for your key matchups because they're very insightful, but they're also two of my three. I also had Ben Johnson versus Vic Fangio, and I also have the Eagles offense versus themselves. It's uncanny, Kyle. But my third, no one mentioned Caleb Williams. He is going to be the guy on display for the Bears. How do the Eagles, do they rebound from a very poor showing against the Cowboys up front? What are we going to get from the front four of the Eagles? Are we going to Jalen Phillips checking back in? I mean, how are we going to see this? Does Davis and Carter, do they get back in the batting balls down? I mean, how is the reaction to now a more mobile quarterback in Caleb Williams? Again, who runs an offense that predicates itself on explosive plays. Where are those guys at in all this?
Yeah, they're they're going to have to be disciplined, but two, they can't just do the one sack thing like they did against Dak. I mean, if it's not sacks, they need to be creating a ton of pressure, or else it could be a long day.
And I'm not even saying Caleb Williams is this great quarterback, but he's mobile and he can get the ball down the field, and that's good enough in this league. You know what I mean?
I'm with you, man. Yep.
All right. So with that being said, what are your keys to the Eagles' victory?
Yeah. So the first one is it's sort of off of that. They need to get in Caleb Williams' face. Now, Caleb a little bit more mobile, but he does remind me a little bit of the Jared Goff type thing, where if you're in his face a lot and he's not able to get set, he'll be erratic and he'll throw the ball, off target, might even throw you one for you to intercept. He's getting better, but he's still not. He's still not like veteran savvy enough, and that just might be a flaw in his game. So they didn't make sure they get. They find ways they can get creative. If they want to try and blitz and stuff like that, if they have a better complement of players back there, they need to find a way to do that. The other one is mix up the running game. I don't know whether it's 50-50 split with Saquon, Tank Bigsby, or even, start getting Jalen Hurts out there on some design runs, but they need to be able to take advantage of this terrible, terrible Bears run defense. And number three is stay on the field as an offense. I mean, it's going to be my key to victory every single week, because it's the one thing that's just been killing this team. It's killing the offense and it's killing the defense because they can't stay on the field. So they need to be able to sustain drives. I mean, for once, just cool it with the freaking 3 and outs, the stupid penalties that get them behind the sticks, all those things. They're just really, they're bringing everybody down, man.
I find it very funny the Tank Bigsby love so far. And I don't know if it's coming from a place of Saquon's not working, let's try somebody else, regardless of who that other person is. I don't know if it's coming from purely the Tank Bigsby skill set, but you're right. They got to find a way to get a little bit more creative, and they got to find a way to mix things up. And if Saquon's not working, it's okay to sit him because he's not doing anything for us.
Yep.
So
yeah, they need a downhill guy, and I think Bigsby provides.
Yeah, they do. No, I agree. My number 3 key to Eagle victory. I'm going to take it to a different level. I'm going to do fast start, but a faster finish. I'm done, man. I mean, come on. These no point second halves, 3-point second halves, these 9 point. I'm a huge fan in this halftime thing this year, or the second half number this year, being a huge indicator about this problem, this football team. It tells me a team that does not make any halftime adjustments. It also tells me a team that gets way too conservative for whatever reason, and it tells me it's a team that makes too many mistakes offensively. So I need a fast start and a faster finish. And if we want to revert back to no points in the first half and 28 in the second, I'm okay with that for at least this week. But I need a fast start, faster finish. And is this the week, Kyle, my number 2 key to Eagle victory, is this the week we find out what the Eagles' offensive identity, or is that ship sailed and I'm just beating a dead horse here? I don't know.
I mean, the half the things that you and I are screaming for here, we're probably not going to say.
No. But I got to fill up some airtime. So, and my number one key to Eagle victory is, the Bears don't scream offensive powerhouse. They don't scream offensive weapons. DJ Moore is a good wide receiver. Burton's a decent wide receiver. They're not going to break any records, but you got to contain them. You got to get them. You can't let them beat you. Caleb Williams is a good quarterback that is on the rise. Chicago seems to have found their quarterback after when did McMahon leave? 88. I mean, it's been a minute since they've had a quarterback. So you can't take him for can't take him for granted. You can't take Eagles shouldn't be taking anybody lightly anymore. If they were, those days should be over with.
Yeah.
You got to contain them. You can't give the Bears offensive big chunk plays. You can't give the Bears anything.
No. Yeah, I'm with you. And if I could add a fourth, then it would probably be the one that you said. And really just, I'd modify it to just 4 quarters of complete complimentary football. I haven't seen it all season long. So.
Nope. No, and that's an interesting. We have not had a complete game yet this year.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Kyle, you're gonna take your 6-5. I'm gonna take my 4-7 pick'em record, and here we go. Give me a score, a winner, a prediction, and game MVP.
Yep, a very frustrating, very upsetting, very annoying 23-20 Eagles victory that everybody's mad at the end of it. And I'll give you my MVP because I do think they start rolling out some design Jalen Hurts runs in this game. I think he does a little bit both on the ground and in the air in this one. So give me Hurts.
All right, Jalen Hurts, 23-20 Birds. I am also going here.
MVP, by the way.
Well, what's that?
I said, which means he won't win the MVP. I'm just guaranteed.
Yeah. Well, we're taking our 0-11 picking game MVPs. Maybe we should stop doing that. But I'm going 24-17 Birds as well. I got the Birds winning this game 24-17. Even with all the crap going on with the Eagles, I do believe the Bears are a fraud. I believe every team in the NFC North, with the exception of the Lions, are a fraud. So I'm going with the Eagles. Do I believe they could lose this game? 100%. Do I believe they can win it? 100%. It's one of them games, Kyle, for me. 24-17 Eagles, and I'm going to go Saquon. I think Saquon quiets his critics and finally gets a big run. You mentioned that Bears vaunted rushing defense, not the best. So give me 24-17 Eagles, and Saquon Barkley is my game MVP.
It would be a good week for the run game to get going, for sure.
It would be. All right. Here we go. End of the last segment of the show, the vaunted question of the week. This is where I lock myself in a room, and I really do a good job to try to get Kyle thinking on these. I probably fail more than I succeed, but here we go. And this is kind of going at, let's talk at the holiday season. It's Black Friday, Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Thanksgiving weekend, the start of the Christmas season. All that's going to come to a head down in South Philadelphia, Lincoln Financial Field. You're going to have a lot of pissed off Eagle fans sitting in that stadium. Can the Eagles, as an organization and as a team, and the sanity of this fan base, can they sustain a win is a win type of game, 10-9, 13-10, 17-14? Can they sustain that kind of win? You said it, we're going to be pissed off if they win 23-20. But can they sustain that kind of a win, or how important is it for the Eagles to go out there and goddamn dominate somebody?
Yeah, I'm not going to look for style points this week. I think the Bears are frauds. They are still an 8-3 football team. And this one, to me, is sort of it's a stop the bleeding type of win that they need. They just need to go out there and get back in the win column, no matter how it looks. They'll get chances to put up style points later in the season when they play the Raiders, maybe the Commanders, one of those games. But this one is one they just need to get back in the win column, especially because I'll add another little layer to it. Cowboys and the Chiefs play on Thanksgiving. I don't think that's an easy game for the Chiefs. And if all of a sudden Dallas wins and we lose, then, there's going to be trouble brewing. So,
1.5 game lead in the NFC East.
Mm-hmm.
So you're for at least one more week, you're like, whatever, win is a win is a win. I don't care, just a win.
Yeah, especially, coming off of last week, they need to just get in the win column.
Okay. All right. I think it's a symptom of a bigger problem, but I can understand where you're coming from. I do. Thanks. All right, Kyle. Again, happy Thanksgiving. Before I let you go, where can the people find you out there?
Yep. So every Monday through Friday, not this week though, off Thursday and Friday. But typically Monday through Friday on WIP, 10 to 2 with Hugh and Joe, the midday show, and on Twitter @_Kyle_Quinn.
And we'll talk next week when we'll talk some Eagles Chargers Monday Night Football. Until then, brother, you have a good weekend, man. Enjoy yourself.
Yep. Enjoy your holiday, buddy. See ya.
All right. Kyle Quinn. Kyle Quinn. Yeah. I can hear the pain in his voice. I can hear the pain. I can see the frustration in his eyes. I'm feeling it, Kyle. I understand where you're coming from, man. I know it's tough. I know, man. And I so want to make it better for you. I do. But I do appreciate him coming on every week to talk to me about the Eagles. So yeah, I'm gonna say, as I said, I think the Eagles do win this football game, but I could definitely see them losing. I'm just I don't know, man. I don't know the answers to these problems anymore. We talk about them all the time. We go over them all the time. We just can't seem to fix them. But I do have the Eagles eventually winning this football game. So let's now transition to my NFL Pick'em segment. This is the part of the show where I'll go and tell you where I think or how I did in Week 12 and give you my games for Week 13. I had another fantabulous week out there picking games in Week 12, 10-4 for the week. Now I have moved to a healthy 115-58 record in 2025. So let's get it rolling. We got football action early in the week. We got 4 games before we even get to Sunday. So let's get going. Eagles, of course, I am going with the Eagles to beat the Bears on Friday. The Thanksgiving games, I got the Lions beating the Packers. A really good game. A really good game. Lions, Packers on Thanksgiving. Give me the Lions. Kansas City and Dallas. I'm going with Kansas City because I'll never pick the Cowboys. Not to say that I don't believe Dallas could win. I just won't ever pick them. I'm also going with the Baltimore Ravens to beat the Bengals on Thanksgiving Day night. So there you have my Thanksgiving and my Black Friday games. On to Sunday. Give me the 49ers over the Browns, the Jaguars over the Titans. Give me the Colts over the Texans. Miami will handle New Orleans. Atlanta will stomp all over the Jets. Tampa over Arizona. The Rams will beat Carolina. Seattle will beat Minnesota. Buffalo will beat Pittsburgh. Give me the Chargers to humiliate the Raiders. And on Sunday Night Football, I like Denver over Washington. And to wrap up the week, another snoozer on Monday night, the Giants versus the Patriots. Man, give me the Patriots in that game. Yeah, terrible Monday night game. So there you are. There it is. And I want to remind everybody here that's tuned into the It's a Wrap Sports Network, do not go anywhere because we got you tonight for the Flyers postgame Clear the Ice, Flyers, Panthers. A little programming note, schedule change. I will not be back at 9 o'clock tonight for the final word. There has to be a switch here. I got something that came up I have to do tonight. But never fear, I will be coming at you tomorrow night, Thanksgiving Day night at 9 o'clock to make up for this show, for the show that I'll miss tonight. I will be coming live on Thanksgiving night, Thursday night at 9 p.m. for the final word, as we will do a holiday special. I don't care about holidays. It's a day to work. Let's have some fun. So I will be on the air tomorrow night at 9 for the final word. So no final word tonight, but we will do one tomorrow night, along with the Fighting's Final 2025 season review show at noon, and then all the other programming set for the weekend. So I will not be able to see you or talk to you again until Thanksgiving Day night. So let me wish you and yours a very early happy Thanksgiving. I hope you guys enjoy yourselves. Stay safe this weekend. If you're going to plan to go out tonight, make sure you got a plan because this is one of the busiest drinking nights of the year. Don't want to see you get caught short. You guys have a great rest of your Wednesday. And again, as I said, I'll be back tomorrow. You'll see me at noon tomorrow, pre-recorded, and then you'll see me live tomorrow night at 9. So until we talk again, guys, have a happy Thanksgiving and go Birds. Take care.